My last command was as Deputy Division Engineer for the entire Inland Division Corps of Engineers. So now you're going to ask me, well, wait a minute, you're running for Attorney General. It's absolutely true, but I started out as an engineer. If you look at the literature that I'm handing out, I had 3 degrees. I took 3 degrees in engineering from MIT, and after that I went over and I taught engineering at Tufts for a while. I've also taught at the Harvard Graduate School of Design. If you go to Boston's Government Center and look at the state buildings now, not the City of Boston buildings, but the state buildings, the one in which the Attorney General's office resides today. If you go in there and look at the plaque, you'll see my name as the Chief Engineer. It's ironic that I was responsible for design and construction of that building, and when I built it, Frank Bellotti was the Attorney General, and I built the Attorney General's office on the 20th floor, and here I am running for the office. So if everybody goes in there and says, see, is that the same Guy Carbone that's running for Attorney General? The answer is yes. Why am I running on stickers? That's important. I must tell you that I come from Belmont. I'm on the Republican Town Committee in Belmont. And there was a fellow named Peter Flaherty from Belmont, a good candidate who was active in the Rodney Healing campaign. And he said he was going to run for Attorney General. And we all thought he was going to run. Every 4 years, I frankly confess that there were some conservatives in the Republican State Committee who asked me to run for Attorney General, and I've always said no. This time they asked me again, and I said, no, Peter, it's a good candidate. We go to the convention, no candidate. And I saw Senator Headland from down the Weymouth way, and I asked him, Bob, when the hell's the candidate for Attorney General? He said, we don't have one. He said, Guy, you look great. You're all tanned up. Why don't you run? And I said, no, thank you. I've got a very active law practice in Boston. I've been practicing law for 35 years. While we were building the buildings in the Government Center, I took the opportunity to go to law school, and I'll tell you, study of law is a piece of cake compared to engineering. Took the bar, I passed it, gave up the practice of engineering and into the practice of law. I've been doing it for 35 years. God knows how many cases I've tried. I've lost some. By the grace of God, I've won a heck of a lot more than I've lost. If you look at the resume that's on the back of that card that I handed out, you'll see that there's a long litany of things. I've been a special assistant district attorney, a special assistant attorney general. I was the general counsel for the State's Department of Labor and Industries, and I was the NBC commissioner. Now, let me talk about why it's important, the general counsel of the State's Department of Labor and Industries. My mother and my father came to this country under the quota system from the old country. They had to wait their turn to come to this country. My mother-in-law and my father-in-law had to wait their turn to come to this country. No jumping ahead of the line. When their number came up, they came to this country. I have no sympathy whatsoever for these people who are jumping ahead of the line. This is personal with me. So you understand that when I become Attorney General, and I'm going to be the Attorney General, I'm just telling you now, I'm going to be the Attorney General. I'm going to take an oath to enforce the law, to defend Massachusetts against all enemies, foreign and domestic, to pursue the law wherever it takes me, and I'm going to do that. Martha Coakley took the same oath that I'm going to take, and yet these illegals are running all over the place doing what they're doing, and she's just turning the other cheek.
It's not illegal to be illegal in Massachusetts.
Let me tell you something. There's something in the law of evidence that says that excited utterance is a declaration against one's interest and is admissible against you in a court of law. When she said what she said, that's an excited interest, right? Utterance, and it's used against her in a court of law. And the first time I debate her, she's going to tell me about what a great attorney she is, and I'm going to say, Jesus, for an attorney, how could you say something as stupid as that, right? If you're an attorney? Number one. Number two, here is a woman, and that's all I'm going to say about Martha Coakley, except for this. Here is a woman who gets elected Attorney General, and 2 years later, she's running for United States Senate. She gets her derriere kicked by Scott Brown, and what does she do? The next day she says, I want to be Attorney General again. Is there something wrong with that? If, as a lawyer, you're my client, and I say to you, gee, you know what, this other client is going to give me more money. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this other client. Then the other client said, you know what, Carbone, I don't want you anymore. So I come back to you and I say, now I want to be a lawyer again. What would you say to me? Get lost. Okay. So these things about Martha Coakley that you've all heard, I'm going to spend my time talking about what I want to do and what my background is. Now, if you look again at the background, or at this thing, you'll see my website. Please, folks, go to my website. Because there's a lot of stuff there. I don't have time to talk about it, but I do talk about the issues. Just go to carboneforag.com. When you go home, get your computer, look at it, click on Learn More About Guy, learn about the issues, and see what I intend to do when I'm Attorney General. I want to talk a little bit about sanctuary cities, of which, to the last time I counted them, there were 4 of them. And there's one of them right next to me, it's Cambridge. If these people want to have a sanctuary city, I say, you know what, that's your business. But you tax your own people in Cambridge, right? You levy the tax on them to pay for all these benefits that you intend to give these people. Stop taxing or taking the money under local aid from the rest of the state. Right? Now,